Hello, spiritual seekers. I want to share some insights about your core self as a transient psychological phenomenon I learned from Jack Rourke, author of The Rational Psychic. My goal is to help you understand who you think you are, which can change how you see the world and encourage you to explore deeper spiritual truths. When we look at the self through psychology, we find four components that modern life often erodes. These are your self-concept, identity, self-efficacy, and self-value. Your self-concept is made up of emotionally charged beliefs you hold about yourself. It's important to note that self-concept is not the same as self-esteem. Self-esteem is your opinion of yourself based on comparing yourself to others using external factors like accomplishments, abilities, or social status. But your self-concept goes beyond any opinion you have about yourself. Your self-concept is really like a lens through which you view the world that indirectly confirms who you think you are based on how you feel about yourself. Anything that contradicts your feelings about who you think you are and how the world works gets filtered out by the lens of your self-concept. What this self-affirming feedback loop does for you is it creates continuity between your inner and outer worlds and the illusion you possess a permanent self that rarely changes. This is where conventional psychic reading can be spiritually valuable. Extrasensory perception can shatter your self-concept and change how you see the world by altering your understanding of the outer world. Whenever we encounter the world in a way that differs from our expectations, our relationship with the outer world changes. When that relationship changes, our experience of self in response to the outer world changes because our sense of self emerges from our relationship with our observations. This is why witnessing a religious, paranormal, or mystical event can lead to a sudden and uplifting release of stress many people assume is spiritual. Unfortunately, uplifting breakthroughs caused by metaphysical experiences are usually temporary, unless new behaviors are adopted moving forward. Okay, so now let's look at how self-concept is biased towards confirming our feelings about ourselves. If you think you're incompetent, you'll focus only on your mistakes and overlook the many things you do well. But if you believe you're a hard worker, you'll notice evidence that supports your positive self-concept while discounting your tendency to procrastinate or take more breaks than allowed at work. Now let's look at identity. With respect to the core self, let's define identity as self-concept that tells us how to behave. Your identity directs the role you play in your family, act among friends, at work, and in intimate partnerships. This being said, we can see how identity also influences belonging and how others perceive us. If someone you care about disagrees with you or offers negative feedback about something important to you, you might feel crushed. One goal of core self-work is to become impervious to outside opinions, yet open to valuable feedback, while deflecting unreasonable or abusive remarks. A person with a strong core self cannot be verbally or emotionally abused. Once you are in touch with your core self and your core values, personal relationships can be abusive, but you cannot be harmed. Being rooted firmly in your core values and powerfully expressing your core self is self-sufficiency. Self-efficacy is your capacity to make a difference in your world. Self-sufficient people set goals and meet them. The key to self-efficacy is emotional regulation. This is the skill to convert negative emotion or overwhelm into constructive action. People with poor emotional regulation rely on things going smoothly in their environment to achieve what they set out to do. Poor emotional regulation also leads to feeling victimized when life is perceived as challenging. Poor emotional regulation can lead us to unknowingly manipulate others to provide for our needs or become doormats, sometimes called people-pleasing or fawning, to ensure we are liked and that things run smoothly. Low self-efficacy often causes people to stop setting goals or quit thinking about the future altogether. This leads to low self-value. Self-value is what you feel about your inherent qualities. People with high self-value appreciate themselves as unique and worthy because of their individuality. Self-value is feeling yourself incomparable to anyone. Self-value is important for spiritual work. When we don't truly value ourselves, comparison to an idea of who we think we should be can drive us toward achieving an imagined self. This is a common problem, confusing self-improvement with spiritual evolution. Spiritual evolution is not self-improvement. Nor does spiritual evolution inflate self-esteem as a result of social or material achievement. Instead, spiritual evolution is the gradual surrender of the instinctual compulsion to compare. Letting go of comparison, striving and judgment frees us to sink into the power of the present moment. Then, right here, right now, we discover the fulfillment we thought we had to go find is our natural state. As an extrasensory practitioner, this is why I discourage an outward focus on others and future events. Psychic perception can be a powerful tool for spiritual evolution, but not if it's used to influence or predict the outer world. Instead, ESP can be a form of spiritual discernment, used to empower decision-making and align with the light within. If you'd like to know more about psychic service as a spiritual means of support, please visit beyondpsychic.net.